Hello, wonderhussie here, lurking around the airport in Los Angeles, which is why I'm in disguise wearing my black shades instead of my typical American flag shades, because as everyone knows, any celebrity worth his or her salt wears big black shades when they're at LAX. Even a Z-lister like me. That's right, I'm in the belly of the beast. LAX. One of the busiest airports in the world. Which, I mean, if you've ever been to Los Angeles, you know that the traffic is totally beastly. And if you've ever had to take somebody to LAX, well, then you know exactly what I mean when I say it's like being in the belly of the beast. You gotta drive all the way into the thick of everything in the middle of Los Angeles. And it's no fun at all. Now, lucky for me, I just flew here from Las Vegas, and I'm about to fly out 6 hours from now to Australia. That's right, I have a 6-hour layover before my flight to Australia. So that means I've got a lot of time to kill. Fortunately for me, there's some pretty interesting stuff. Here at LAX, they have this display of vintage flight attendant uniforms. Look at these old stewardess outfits. I mean, that's when stewardesses were stewardesses and not flight attendants. Ugh, seems like they just take the fun out of everything. Although I guess if you were to talk to some actual flight attendants, well, they might not have thought wearing get-ups like this was very fun at all. It says this here was a TWA outfit. Remember TWA? I'm actually old enough to remember having flown TWA, but unfortunately the stewardesses weren't wearing anything quite this cool. And then over here, this is, it says it was Braniff International Airlines, and they flew, I guess, down to Mexico because they incorporated some kind of traditional Aztec or Olmec looking motifs in these fantastic tights. I mean, when's the last time you saw a pair of fantastic tights like that? Whether on a stewardess uniform or anywhere. And then over here we have this, frankly, I think hideous Western Airlines outfit. I guess it's supposed to look vaguely Hawaiian back when everybody was starting to fly to Hawaii. These groovy bell bottoms made out of this completely non-breathable and probably totally flammable fabric. And then there's this outfit, which I think is adorable. Look at the little, it's almost like a jockey's cap. This says it was for Pacific Southwest Airlines. I've never even heard of Pacific Southwest. It says they were in business from 1949 to 1988. Look at that, that's hot pants. And it says they wore red leather go-go boots with it, but unfortunately they don't have the boots on display. Okay, but the best uniform out of all these, and there's only 6 on display, is in this case over here, right next to this. This is Continental Airlines, very classy. Little red kind of beret, little black dress with a pearl necklace. Imagine that. And then look at the cute little bag they carried. I guess that was for their hair dryer. I mean, isn't that what women did back in the day? They carried those hair dryers around because they did those incredible bouffant hairdos, and they had to set their hair and put that bonnet on it with the hose. And it says here that Continental flight attendants were required to wear white gloves, girdles, and 3-inch black leather heels. And of course, they were subject to periodic weigh-ins. That's right, they would get weighed. And if they weighed too much, they were out of a job. Okay, that's a cool outfit, but that's not my favorite outfit. My favorite is right next to it, and it's from Pan Am, the legendary Pan Am Airways. Okay, you know, it's just a smart little blue suit. Little white blouse underneath peeking out. Very cute little blue cloche hat. But look at the badass poster behind it. 747 Pan Am. It's all psychedelic. And it's by Peter Max. That's the guy who did the art for Yellow Submarine, didn't he? I think so. If not Yellow Submarine, then he did a bunch of that crazy, awesome psychedelic 60s art. Anyway, that's just one kind of interesting thing here at LAX. And it helped me pass 5-6 minutes, but that means I still have 5 hours and 55.5 minutes to go before my 15-hour flight to Sydney. And while I would love nothing more than to just park my ass at an airport bar and get soused while I'm waiting. They say you're not supposed to drink alcohol on these long flights because it'll just dehydrate you even more. And besides, I feel like I'm gonna need to get some kind of exercise if I'm about to be sitting on my keister for 15 hours straight. So I'm just gonna keep walking around and see if there's anything else interesting to look at here. Oh wow, look at that amazing fake clock tower. Isn't that recreating a scene from some old-timey movie like Charlie Chaplin or Busby Berkeley or some guy that was hanging off the hands of a clock like that? Hollywood magic. Other than that though, this terminal looks pretty much like every other airline terminal I've ever been in. You know, the same stupid overpriced stores, the same schlumpy, underdressed tourists. Myself definitely included. I mean, if I'm gonna fly for 15 hours, I'm not wearing high heels and pearls like those poor continental stewardesses. No, I'm wearing leggings, flip-flops, a hoodie, basically pajamas, since, well, I'm about to take what amounts to a 15-hour red-eye flight. I'm getting on at 10 p.m. here, and I'm coming into Sydney, I think, at 5 a.m. 2 days later. So basically, it's just like going to bed in the sky, sitting up, surrounded by other people. Where's all the movie stars? You know, you see those pictures in the tabloids where the paparazzi always catch them coming through security at LAX in their big black wraparound shades and their yoga pants. Kind of like me. So far, I haven't seen anyone I recognized, but keep your eyes open, guys. You never know who we're walking next to. I mean, that could be Posh Spice right there. Oh, wait, no, she's Asian. Ooh, margaritas. Oh, man, they say you're not supposed to drink on a flight. But what about 5 hours before a flight? Let me walk around just a little bit more first. Need to get a little bit more exercise. I did just sit on the plane for an hour coming from Las Vegas. And there are supposed to be some kind of interesting stores here, according to what I read online. Okay, yeah, for the most part, it's just the same old Hermes, Starbucks, Louis Vuitton, whatever, MAC Cosmetics, the stuff you see at every airport. But there is supposed to be at least one or two uniquely LA or Hollywood type stores somewhere in this terminal, I think. Ooh, the Hollywood Reporter. But it looks like it's just a regular newsstand. Ooh, wine tumblers. Oh, look, that's pretty LA. Kylie Jenner has a makeup vending machine. I guess these are all lipsticks. I don't know, it's kind of surreal. Look at that, it looks like a bunch of vampire mouths. Oh, wow, look. It's a hands-only CPR training device with this super creepy torso at the bottom that I guess you can practice CPR on. What happened to his boob? Oh, look. Here's the beach. The LAX beach. Unfortunately, I think it's a playground meant for little kids. So if I go in there, I'll probably look like a freak. But I can check this thing out. Look at this. It's like a giant version of that game Mousetrap that you used to play when you were a kid. These balls go up this little conveyor belt on the right, and then they go rolling down the top thing. Boy, I must really be getting bored. Look into my eyes. Like that little curly Q thing in the middle. That's a trip. Anyway, that's the end of this terminal, and I didn't really see anything super interesting. Here's a Delta jet cruising down the runway, about to take off. I'm on American Airlines, which, well, based on the first leg of my trip from Vegas just now, was a fine airline. It was a very clean, modern plane. I think I had 16.5-inch wide seat. Talk about comfortable. Now, that was only an hour and 15-minute flight. A 16.5-inch wide seat on a 15-hour flight is going to be a different story. To that end, I guess I might as well take this opportunity to show you guys what all I decided to carry with me on the flight. Now, this is American Airlines. They actually let you bring one personal item and one thing for the overhead bin free of charge, which is kind of a big deal compared to some of these other airlines that charge you even for putting a bag in the overhead bin. I'm not used to this, so when I packed yesterday, I was trying to jam everything into one bag, and then I realized, well, hold on a minute. I get a checked bag, I get an overhead bag, and I get whatever will fit under the seat in front of me. And to be honest, all I really packed was a big duffel bag because I'm going to be traveling around the Outback with my friend in his overlanding vehicle. It's not like I can bring a bunch of hard-sided suitcases, you know, space is at a premium. So I packed everything I could into this soft-sided duffel bag, and it was one of those duffel bags that doubles as a backpack, and I'm pretty sure it would have fit into the overhead bin. So I could have just carried it on with me, and then I could have condensed the stuff that's in these two bags probably into one and just shoved it under the seat in front of me, but well, I decided to take a chance and hope that my bag makes it all the way through this time, because I really didn't feel like having to jam all my stuff into one bag. I mean, this is crowded enough as it is. Okay, so in here, I've got my blankie, I've got my airline pillow, which if you watched the video I made where I was packing for Australia, you saw all about this crazy contraption. I don't know if it's actually going to work out or if I'm frankly even going to use it, but better to have it and not need it. And of course I had to bring my own blankie because I've read that those airline blankets are kind of gross. And besides, you know, there's nothing like having your own cozy blankie to make you feel like you're right at home in your comfy cozy bed and not sitting upright 29,000 feet in the air surrounded by, well, hopefully not crying babies and farting people and, you know, probably somebody eating a really stinky tin of sardines next to me. Anyway, the rest of the space in this bag is taken up with, well, I got my makeup bag because I'm gonna maybe need to put on makeup when I land in the morning. You know, it's gonna be morning in Australia. I'm gonna have to, you know, get fixed up to greet the day. Good day. I have a lot of recording gear in here. I brought a extra tripod because I want to film as many videos as I can when I'm in the Outback, in the bush. And so then I also have this bag full of, I got some external hard drives to save my video footage, extra microphones. I've got, a GoPro. Basically anything that has a lithium battery, they don't want you to check in your checked bag anymore because I guess it's a fire risk. And then I also have, well, I did bring my USA sunglasses. You know, once I'm out of LAX and don't need to pretend I'm a movie star anymore, I could put these on. In fact, I could put these on now and it wouldn't be such a big deal here. I'm just a little apprehensive about wearing these abroad, and I feel like US-Australian relations are probably pretty good, but even still, like, I'm very sensitive to being seen as the ugly American, you know? Especially considering that video I made packing for this trip when I was doing a fake Australian accent and talking about camel toe Australia. I'm kind of worried that I might have come off as offensive. Fortunately, I feel like most Aussies have a pretty good sense of humor, so I don't think any of them got their panties in a twist, but hey, I know I have some Aussie viewers, you tell me if I was being rude and or offensive in that video. Anyway, I'll take my blankie and pillow out of this bag, but put the rest of it up in the overhead bin. But then this little bag is full of all the things that I'm gonna keep with me on my 15-hour odyssey halfway around the world. Okay, well, I'm gonna have water, you need to stay hydrated. I'm gonna need a sleeping mask because the idea is to try and at least get some sleep. Of course, I'm gonna need my passport for when I land down under, which, by the way, you wanna see a really ugly passport picture? Oh, I had this taken at the CVS in Pahrump, and it's one of the most unflattering photos ever taken of me. I don't think I was feeling well that day. Fortunately for me, only the customs man will have to look at it. Then I got my reading material, that book Tracks that I talked about in my last vlog about the chick who went across Australia with her 3 camels. Started reading that on the way over here and it's pretty interesting. And this is my toiletries that I'm gonna need for when when it's morning, I'm gonna have to brush my teeth and wash my face and spritz my pits with isopropyl alcohol. Big fan of isopropyl alcohol. Got a bottle of that. I've got sunblock for my face. I've got vitamin C, because I'm not trying to pick up any germs on the damn plane. Oh, and then I've also got some Klonopin. My sister gave me some Klonopin that she thought might help me relax or sleep on the flight, because I'm not a very good sleeper to begin with. let alone sitting up for 15 hours straight. So I took her up on her offer. I'm not sure I'm gonna take them because I also brought some, well, you know, I have a sweet tooth, and so I thought I better bring a bag of gummy bears with me just in case I get the munchies on the flight. You know what I mean? The less said about that, the better. Anywho, I guess I might as well go sit at that bar and have a margarita. I can't think of any other way to kill the 5 hours and 20 minutes I now have left before this flight leaves. Woo-wee. I mean, I'm gonna sit down and edit this video, and then I'm gonna answer some mail that I brought with me. And then I suppose I could answer some email that I always have with me. And then I suppose I could sit and read my book, but basically I need to do whatever I can just to not fall asleep, because I want to try to be as tired as possible when I get on this dang flight so that I hopefully manage to get some shut-eye, because 15 hours without sleeping and then landing at 5 a.m. and having to go about a whole nother day, which, by the way, once I get to Sydney, I have to change planes again to fly to Alice Springs, which is way out in the middle of nowhere, and I think it's like a 3-hour flight from Sydney. And then once I get to Alice Springs, my friend is going to be there waiting for me, and he's going to be already adjusted to the time change, so he's going to want to go out and buy supplies for our expedition. I mean, we have to load up. We got to buy groceries. We got to buy whatever supplies we're going to need for traveling through the bush for 3 straight weeks. We're not going to be passing through that many towns, and the towns we pass through probably aren't going to have super Walmarts, so we're going to need to do some stocking up, but hopefully he goes easy on me the first day, because I have a feeling all I'm going to want to do is probably go to sleep. But for now, no sleep for me. I'll just have to settle for a margarita. Look at that. It's already dark outside. Boy, time really flies when you're having fun. I only have 2 more hours. 2 hours to relax in these comfy, cozy chairs. But what's 2 hours when you have 15 hours and 15 minutes ahead of you? Might as well make the most of it and enjoy stretching my legs out while I can. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up now. There's really not much more I can say about the glamorous Terminal B at LAX. So I'm gonna use the rest of my time here in the gate to edit this video, upload this video, and then get ready for my grueling journey down under. Stay tuned.